What's up, everybody? This is Aaron Sampson.
Chris Waters.
And Ryan Schubert.
And we decided to telecastrate this
That is not the word.
fishing and back. I'm pretty sure it's telecastrate, right?
I don't think
when
there's
you have
any
a Telecaster.
fishing.
Damn it, Samson.
Chris, demonstrate some telecastration.
Hello.
Look, I don't know if this is like a spoiler alert type of thing, but I don't think there's any fishing in this video.
Yeah. So we're going to talk about some of the things that we saw in this 17-minute Battlefield 4 single-player trailer gameplay. I don't know what is this?
Demo.
It's a demo.
Gameplay. They're
demo.
Yeah, they got their GPS there. So these dudes are in a tight spot. And what do you think?
Oh, this is Frostbite
Sinking motor
3.
vehicle.
Yeah.
Does this feel Frostbite 3-ish to you, Ryan?
Oh, no. I mean, there's some particulate matter.
But they said it's
and lots
Frostbite
of
3.
birds.
So they haven't exactly tried the like seat lever yet. I'm a bit confused about that part.
Yeah, these guys haven't been in an upside-down sinking car before.
I thought that was part of
Obviously,
Navy
the SEAL
SEAL
training was not complete.
Are these guys even SEALs?
I don't think they are.
I don't think so. But yeah, I mean, like, look, we got the face animation on this is sort of one of the places where, you know, you kind of get the feeling that there's more going on under the hood, right? That there's
All right,
more.
pause. Here you go. Show me a face, Chris.
No, see, so this big blue spear is
That is all
come on.
frostbite light affected.
The spear is
Go ahead forward. Let's get a better
Other guy's
freeze frame
face.
on a dude's face.
Yeah.
This guy, by the way, is having
There we
leg
go.
There we go.
problems.
Oh, there we go. Good.
You are the
Good.
worst pauser, Aaron
I'm
Sampson.
gonna work at my pausing skill. Here we go.
There we go.
There we go.
There we
We
go.
practiced this ahead of time. Yeah, so I mean the lighting is low here, so you can't really get a great look at it. But like throughout the whole video, these guys do, you know, their faces do look real.
Frostbite does have some good-looking face.
They look pretty cool. Let's go ahead
All right.
and get these guys out of a tight spot.
But I will say, okay. One thing I want to point out here,
There's
real
our
quick.
Rex from.
We have seen a lot of
Battlefield
recycled weapons from Battlefield 3.
Yes.
Also,
Sure,
this
they're
man
not going to invent entirely new arsenal. For
This
the
man is
game.
about to shoot out the front window of a car,
Yeah.
and front windows of cars don't shatter. You just put a hole and drown
Let us
faster.
say spoiler alert.
They don't
away
shatter.
what's
Why
about
would you
to
shoot it?
happen.
Why would you shoot out the front window?
They don't show it shatter.
You're just letting water in.
They don't.
But
show
wouldn't
it
the pressure
shatter.
of the water just blow the entire windshield in on them and get the same effect?
Are you willing to take
So
that
here
risk?
we are. We're going into the tired flashback device.
Yeah. So one of the immediate things you will notice, though, when he pulls out the weapon is that attachment on the side, Medal of Honor style dual sights are now a thing in Battlefield.
Yeah.
And
Well,
also pride.
Sweet wall
Got some
graffiti.
pride back there.
Yep. Azerbaijani pride.
We've had a little bit of a change to our HUD interface. So in the lower right corner here, you've got a couple of extra indicators. I think one of those might be the squad spotting in single player, where you'll see later you can tell your squad to like all line up and shoot and suppress.
We shall see. To me, this part of the demo really is just like textures on display.
Yes.
So
lighting.
you're just like walking past these walls. You're seeing this light streaming down here. So you're looking in a second at like, you know, paint that's sort of
Chipping.
aging and chipped. This is just like, hey, look at the pretty environments we can all make here.
Also, take a look in the upper right corner here. This is potentially their new social bar.
Something's gonna pop up there in a second. We'll take a look there. But talk to me about textures, man?
I'm not a guy who really cares that much about textures.
You don't like it when something looks more real.
I care about gameplay, like what fun gameplay, and to me this is just another sneaking section, like where the
Yes.
game is just basically trying to control what you're doing.
Fair enough.
I do wonder how many like mission fails are in this section.
I will
like, if
say-
you do something wrong.
There's like 500% more birds in Battlefield 4. This is like a reoccurring theme.
That is
So here's
not
a face.
science.
Here's a face.
Oh.
That's not that. No.
Aaron Sampson, world's
All
worst
right.
pauser.
No, he's also. Oh well.
God damn
Gone
it,
now.
Sampson.
Haha.
He's got to turn back around.
Yeah. So the thing that struck me with all
Look at this guy's dirty eyeballs.
what?
Look at all
Yeah,
these.
He's got the.
He's got the dirtiest
there's all this
eyeballs.
dust
Look,
on the
like
lens.
clearly nobody is wearing glasses here.
Dust on his
Yeah,
view.
this
This
I
guy's
see
got
what
like
you-
yeah,
the
he's
dirtiest
got, like-
eyeballs ever.
But here's the thing for me with these textures, right? Like
This guy's collecting a lot of American flags.
he does. He has at
He's
least
got,
4 of
like-
them on him. The thing about the like paint, the detail and stuff on the wall is like I feel like it's going to reach a point where there's too much detail because the human eye doesn't, like if you look directly at something, you're picking up detail, but your peripheral vision is not registering the detail of paint cracking.
So you think this is a little over the top?
So
Or
I
getting
don't.
there.
I don't think it is. I just see like in the future, of high definition, et cetera, it may get there, and it's something that this part of it just made me think about.
Okay, so in that sequence, I'd like to point out the player did not have a prompt to open the window themselves.
Yeah.
And also the dude on the street is running on his own. I'm really concerned that Battlefield 4 is going to follow Battlefield 3 in the we want to control everything that you do as a player.
Here comes bad AI right here.
Yeah.
What?
Like-
He got shot, and then he crouched down for a second, and then he stood back up.
But I mean, do we really
That's what anybody would do.
do we
after
really
they got
care
shot.
about another like you're stuck in this window and shoot this specific wave of dudes sort of gameplay?
I mean, what would you prefer? You
On
gotta
the
shoot
ground?
you gotta shoot the dudes at some point, and you get on the ground. Like I don't know. This is a gameplay demo, right?
He did just pop his dual sight there.
Yeah.
There we go.
There it is.
But
Very
or
nice.
like, what if this was? I would have been impressed if this was co-op and your buddy was the guy on the ground, and you're protecting your buddy.
So something closer to the Call of Duty Modern Warfare Spec Ops.
Spec Ops type missions,
Or even
Yeah.
the Battlefield 3.
Spec Ops.
Yeah, the
type
Battlefield 3 missions.
yeah.
That's true. Yeah, okay. I mean, but it's, this is a linear campaign. This is, you are guided through a story. This is, during the presentation, they focused a lot on the fact that these are, characters you're going to care about. They're human dramatic moments. And granted, none of these guys combined don't have the personality that one Bad Company 2 person does.
So speaking of Bad Company, we got Forest here. Hopefully that'll make it
Yay.
into the multiplayer.
It's got leaves.
Got pretty leaves. And the dude has bullets now.
Yep.
But I mean, Chris, along those comments that you're making, after we saw this, you pulled up Bad Company
Look at that.
2
Look how easily he hefts that
on
machine
YouTube,
gun.
and you were
He's a
just
strong individual.
You were just watching those dudes talk
Because they're funny.
because they're hilarious. So like,
Yeah.
how would this compare to like Bad Company?
Well,
in
this
terms
is.
of
I mean, they're clearly
character?
going to more of a serious route. They're not doing the character driven thing in the same way.
Oh,
yeah.
there you go.
Boom.
There
Let's
we go.
pause right here, real quick, Samson. And nice work. You pause.
Yeah.
So this is like this is a challenge invite. So is this presumably dog tag hunter, like find a dog tag, whatever, that's an achievement or a challenge. This is like a little photo of your friendo on your friends list. Presumably this is
is
you
not
have
just
6
some
people
anonymous
online.
jerk
This
that's,
is how many chalices you have for the goblet focused metagame here. But how do you feel
social.
about having this kind of social stuff right up here, like right there,
Now they did,
taking up
they
the
did
right hand
something
corner?
like this, right? And see, he hefts it again.
Look at all those birds, man! 500% more birds.
Samson, ever since Arma 3 introduced bird mode, you've been obsessed with birds.
Ah,
If you can
birds.
play one of those birds, that would be great.
Also,
Yeah.
there's a lot of blue and orange because those
Now,
colors contrast.
Medal of Honor had a social component in it,
Uh-huh.
but it wasn't. I think it was like optional. Like if you could play, it was a separate mode. Like you could play through the campaign, and the challenge mode, it would like tell you when you were passing or beating your friends on that specific level.
Uh-huh.
I mean, the hard part to get around though is with Battlefield. Then most of this is going to be 8 hours of your 200+ hour
Well,
experience.
I mean, that's a way to that's a way to change it. If
multiplayer.
it becomes about us, it becomes
wait.
stunt. It becomes about stunt playing. If it becomes about trying to beat your friend, then that's a way to get theoretically that's a way to get more playtime out of your linear campaign and to encourage you to come back.
So let's go back to what he
Doesn't that
just
seem
did
like
here.
kind of a weak way of justifying having the campaign at all?
Sure, but the fact remains that a lot of people like to
All right.
play these games single player.
So you see that the little fist bump he just did? Oh,
Yep.
on that red light up here. Circle the fist.
You want to
the
circle
fist, the
this
fist.
fist here
Yes.
too? I'll outline the fingers for you.
So this is their new squad command system, where you can
Delightful.
spot enemies.
That's
wearing
what
a glove.
That's what a soldier hand looks like.
You can spot enemies and tell your squad in single player
This is
to
what
basically
Battlefield looks
shoot
like.
or suppress. Yeah.
This is Battlefield streak.
I feel like you should do some distorted mouth sounds now.
Okay.
Okay, so he just told his buddy there to suppress, and now he's... So I like this part.
This thing was flashing, and so that's like I guess that was indicating that you had someone tagged, or
No,
that your
that was a new weapon.
that your squad was shooting.
Okay, so what you just saw, though, was they did take some influence back from Bad Company 2, and he just destroyed his way through
Can
a
you see
route.
that again? Can you just rewind it real quick?
Yeah, let's rewind. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And a new weapon.
Yeah.
there was a new weapon.
It's a new shotgun.
All right.
No, the grenade launcher.
N- sure.
And if you notice,
what you said is more accurate than what I said. Thanks.
If you
Ryan.
notice, that was his
Oh,
secondary.
there's two.
I don't know if they're going to let you carry more weapons in multiplayer, but that was clearly his secondary weapon.
It's not clear whether he has a pistol or not.
It wasn't
So,
like an undersling.
Blam, there's his shotgun that he wrote some little graffiti on. So
And then
So destructible routing is a thing now, which is cool. I mean, Bad Company did it, and I'm glad they're going back to that.
yeah, that certainly seems to be an increase in destructibility as a strategic thing.
Which is something the community
Whereas
was...
largely Battlefield 3 was destructibility as a cosmetic thing and not, not something that you would necessarily use in a tactical fashion.
And this is something they're highlighting too, is that you can kind of take this however you want. Like you can take their vehicle and use the mounted machine gun, or you can just proceed on foot.
And like
You
presumably you could just drive all the way down in here.
Or drive
and-
off to the left or right or something.
Right.
Yeah.
So, again, going back to the Bad Company 2 open environments where you have a lot more player choice.
So does this make you feel better after that like whole intro in the school sequence? Do you like that? Do you like this action focus, this open area? Samson?
Yes. I can't keep but feeling like they're still chasing Bad Company 2, but it's a step back in the right direction for Battlefield, which is a game about tactical freedom and tactical choice of movement.
Yeah,
you
they
know?
did. I mean, they mentioned in the presentation that they're trying to take inspiration from their own multiplayer, and so having vehicles, having big open areas, is certainly more like that. Of course, they gave lip service to that for Battlefield 3 as well, and they were criticized rightly for actually not really doing that in the campaign.
Battlefield 3 was downright OCD in the way it wanted to control players. Like, that especially that really crappy knife sequence comes to mind, where you literally had to do it exactly how the game wanted.
You had to be
do it.
standing, not crouching. Yeah, they had they had scripted stuff in there that was problematic.
So let's go back. He just did another squad spot. Yeah, I mean, if you literally knifed the guy in a way that displeased like Battlefield 3, it would just insta kill you. And I never want to see that again in any Battlefield franchise.
But now we're blowing up. This whole little area. He just blew away.
He just got
that
a chalice.
cover.
You see that?
Oh, did he get
right?
a chalice?
He got a chalice.
Up here? I can't really see
He
it.
earned a cup.
He earned a chalice.
Let's play. Let's you're destroying a pretty significant amount of the building. Do you think that? I mean, that just destroyed like this barrier. This wall remains intact. Do you think it'll
So
go?
there you go. So everybody spotted there. That was the new squad spot command.
It's like.
And then lower right
It's basically
corner.
like an area spot. You don't have to hit exactly the guy, and I don't think that'll
So-
be the case with multiplayer.
Right there, you have your red arrow or your little red carrot light up to let you know that everything is now spotted.
And I think it's more than just people are spotted. I think it's that your squad mates are suppressing them, and so that is a visual indicator.
There's a component to where there's actually teamwork with the AI.
Yes.
Not just they shoot at whatever or are just stand there and invincible and are there for effect. They're actually doing something.
So
But I
yeah,
mean-
like you could continue to shoot them through the windows here and throw grenades in, or you could flank around with this like loud as heck shotgun.
Oh, the character models, by the way.
But I don't know. The reason that I'm not particularly...
What about the character?
These are the Battlefield 3. Like here's our sniper.
They're the same character. I mean, this is still an early build.
Obviously, it's an early build,
But those
They're
character
familiar
models.
characters, yeah.
I mean, that's the Canadian gun sight from Battlefield 3. There we go.
And now you're spotting for a helicopter. They're coming in with a minigun.
Okay, so...
This is telling you that you're close to a new record, which I kind of, that's like a sort of a progress indicator, right, for an achievement. I imagine that's the kind of thing you're going to be able to toggle on and off. Hopefully,
We hope.
because I could see enjoying playing the game that way, but I could also see like, look, I don't want to be reminded, constantly about this whole scoring thing.
But I mean, and they're capable of doing this. How much more rad would that be if you did the Spec Ops style and your buddy's up here, It's like
that would be the modern
I'm just
Warfare
way-
2,
I mean, you're just talking about a cooperative campaign, which would be new to Battlefield pretty much entirely.
I'm just way less impressed with going back to a standard single-player experience
You mean
where...
continuing to do a standard single-player experience.
Well, Battlefield traditionally didn't even really have that. I mean, they
Right.
kind of came up with that, and Bad Company did it well, and then Battlefield 3 was like an atrocity of single-player.
Right,
But
but
they're-
I mean, neither of those games was co-op, and so what you're asking here is, making it an experience cooperative is not just, as easy as plugging in another controller. But would it be awesome to have this campaign be co-op? Yeah, man. I mean, I think it would be a lot of fun. I don't think we're gonna see that though.
I think it would really depend on whether the storytelling is any good.
Well, I feel like a campaign with cooperative play, you make your own story when you're sort of playing with a friend more so that the actual storytelling of the campaign doesn't have to be as strong. Like you don't rely on it as much. But when you're just playing by yourself, you totally rely on storytelling.
Okay, there we go. So we got a new record.
That's why I would just wish that they didn't even bother with creating these cutscenes in the movie. Just a series of scenarios with different objectives, and you can cooperatively figure out how to.
So you just want them to go whole hog on the missions from Battlefield 3 and forget the whole like linear story campaign.
Yeah, like you said, you kind of make it up as you go. If you're playing with somebody else, the story is something that you bring to the game.
All right, so let's talk about the visuals real quick, because we're seeing lots of effects, like the dust is blowing here, the smoke is blowing here, we've got the sun, glorious rays. Does this game look pretty to you guys? Do you
I mean, it looks like they're continuing what they were doing with 3, which was really trying to make a visually spectacular experience.
Which, to their credit, I mean, when the sunlight isn't blinding you, they're doing.
They totally are. Yeah, no, I think I do like those effects. Like, I do think that lighting is one of the ways that next-gen consoles are really going to make things look more realistic and more naturalistic, is through lighting. And
these guys are kicking up dust as they run. Like, that even looks good.
But keep in mind, this is probably running on a very high-end PC, and there's no telling whether next-gen consoles will be able to do anything like this.
Sure, I mean, I think that you can probably assume that they will be able to do something that approximates this. But just in terms of a design perspective, like, look, the way that the light is falling on these guys, and the shadows and stuff like that, it does a lot to make the experience more realistic.
It's the Bad Company 2 helicopter.
It's time to engage a Russian Havoc with a rifle.
Yeah,
that's
it's
how
also
you do
time.
That. That's how special forces take down helicopters.
More importantly, it's time to not play the game.
Yes,
Look,
it's time to not play the game.
No HUD, no HUD. Like, you can't shoot. You can't. This is what I hated about the Battlefield 3 campaign. Was just this desire to control the player and like only do what the game wants you to do. This, I mean, granted, this was for a presentation, but this sequence would have been so okay. Like,
I mean, you're running here.
But how many times have you played the running across the bridge while the helicopter shoots at you sequence?
And look at all the dust and particles and the textures, Aaron.
Has that ever been a fun sequence?
And look,
yes, it has. It has.
Saving.
It's been frantic. It's been like, holy crap! I'm about to get exploded. I need to run. Yeah, like, I definitely think that, these kind of sequences have value, and they can be used to good effect. But I sympathize with you, Aaron, in saying, basically what you're saying is this gameplay demo is not showing you new and exciting ways to play Battlefield. It's sort of showing you a new place and new visuals and whatnot, but it's not lighting your fire in the way that you'd hoped.
Yeah,
that's what makes me feel like it's sort of like Battlefield 3.5.
Yeah.
Like, it is visually spectacular, but it has the same kind of like on rails campaign feel in this video. And even though this is pretty spectacular,
suppression.
Even though it's pretty spectacular, you're saying, Ryan?
Even though it's pretty spectacular, it doesn't seem like, to me, that this is like a, full push forward. I mean, remember that we had like, 3 or 4 Battlefield games between 2 and 3? This is like the immediate next release, and this just doesn't feel aesthetically very different to me from Battlefield 3.
I mean, they're certainly trying to go for the same look and the same kind of experience. I think that
I feel like it's just a bit disingenuous if at the end of the day the multiplayer is essentially the same game, then we're just paying another
that's sort of the big
$110
wild card
for,
here.
Yeah, this is obviously the huge wild card, and we've all played cumulatively hundreds and hundreds of hours of Battlefield 3 multiplayer, despite our varying degrees of dislike for the campaign. We didn't see any multiplayer stuff. They haven't talked about it at all. They haven't demoed it at all. This is a campaign demo.
Oh, that was a face.
It will naturally be more linear, just because that's what shows well. That's what they can control and present well. It's just they're just showing their visual muscle. They're trying to give you an idea for what the experience is going to be.
But I gotta
like.
say, like, leading off with this, to be amazing, something either has to be new or done better than the last guy who did it. And I feel like if you break down any individual sequence in this demo, they're regurgitations of past sequences you've already played with better graphics.
Right.
There's nothing new here that excites me.
Well, there's nothing new under the sun, Samson.
There is. You could have made that whole sequence co-op. with
That's
the
not
dude in the
new.
helicopter.
Playing a shooter campaign co-op is not new.
New or better than the last guy.
Right.
There's a lot of rocks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
There
rocks.
are. This guy's having a bad time.
Oh, there's a face. There's a face.
Oh, let's look at that face.
What?
Yeah, I mean, Frostbite does some good-looking face. Of course, there's no HUD, but I think this is an engine.
This is a scene where you realize this dude's leg is trapped, and you're gonna have to press E to do something about it.
Yeah.
In a second.
Although we did ask them, you cannot not chop his leg off. There's no player choice here. So again, I don't think you have any investment if you don't have an actual choice. Your choice was cut off the leg or stop
So
playing
choice is
Or
one.
turn it off. Save and quit.
Oh, gross. Oh, he's got no leg. Choice. So
the game. Leave him to die. Leave him to die in the rubble.
To your point, choice is one way of creating immersion, right? If you feel like you have agency in the world, then you are more immersed there. The kind of immersion they're going for is obviously not choice fueled. It's obvious. It's fueled.
I mean,
it's supposedly fueled by characters. It's supposedly fueled by the intensity of the action in those shooting sequences and the visual fidelity.
So like here though, you didn't even have a choice to get into this car until the game let you. It's like,
look, dude, this is the way that campaigns work. I mean, do you want to be able to like wander around and look at the fire while your dude bleeds to death?
I do actually. I want to drag him into the car myself. Like I want to be playing the game. I don't want the game to play itself for me.
You want to be able to just like drag him around in circles.
Yes.
And then
if I choose to drag him in circles,
Write
that is what
your
I
name
choose
on
to
the
do.
ground in leg blood.
well, it ain't happening, Samson.
So here, look. Okay, first of all, the car teleported, which pulled me right out of the scene.
10 minutes. It was like a few more minutes later. They drove to another place. They literally went black and cut to a cut later.
Ellipses in a
Second of
cinematic
all,
story are
second of
normal.
all, I'm going to point out here, this entire sequence was ripped off from Bad Company 2. It's just you're driving instead of being in the back of the truck. Like this entire sequence, they may have thought they were doing a homage to the scene in Bad Company 2, but it's just a straight ripoff.
I think they probably thought they were doing a let's get the F out of here, we need to drive somewhere.
It's the same
People
helicopter.
get places by driving cars.
That helicopter was chasing you.
Do you expect them to make up new helicopters to put into the game, Samson? They are true to life using actual helicopters
I
that
don't get
exist
the
in the
impression
world.
that you're actually controlling this vehicle.
No, I don't think you are. Well, yeah, you probably are not. It's certainly not here. This is where you get the moment of I get to pull the trigger, and you probably aim as well. Yeah.
320 into the helicopter. But this is the same Russian helicopter they've always had. It's the same 320. This is a rip-off sequence from Bad Company 2. It's just not interesting.
All right, so clearly you're fatigued on this campaign. And we know what this campaign is going to have to do to make you interested, give you choice, do co-op, all the stuff that it is totally not going to do. So is there any way that this campaign is going to, in its current state, entertain you?
Maybe for a couple hours, and then I'm going to go spend 200 hours playing multiplayer.
So, so this is not for you, then. This is for people who are still, people who enjoy having kind of a cinematic experience. They're trying to do this character-driven thing. They're,
we're not hearing it right now because we're talking over it,
Yeah.
but they are bringing a new element to Battlefield 4, which is you're not only fighting the Russians, but also the Chinese.
Yes, that's right.
Very unique. I mean, I know Battlefield 2 had Chinese, but, it's... So, it may be borrowing from Battlefield 2.
Pause it. Oh, go back.
There's a girl.
We need to look at the lady.
Here, we can look at some of these sequences here.
Actually, these are good to look at because these are,
It's not that
these
I'm
sort of
against
glimpses at the title of the game.
It's not that I'm against single player in Battlefield. It's just it's Battlefield. Battlefield is about tactical freedom, and I don't want the game to control me. And
Okay.
Right, because you liked the Bad Company campaign, or Bad Company 2, where it was a little bit more sandboxy with how you did things. Like, they would say, do it like this, but you could, if you wanted to, go off script.
You're moving through broader areas, and we saw that earlier when you were fighting your way across that construction site. So you do have freedom in those moments. This kind of campaign does need to funnel you forward, does need to move you along at certain, points, and that's how they deliver story. But if you're getting the chance to fight in those more open areas and use alternate routes, destructibility, etc., is there a chance that you'll enjoy yourself, Samson?
I mean, if they go more in the direction of like these sequences, let's go back. If they go more in the direction of these sorts of sequences, where you know, where you can run around and have freedom, and they tell you a story through voice and dialogue,
and
like they did.
Birds everywhere.
I mean, you went on YouTube and you listened to the dudes in Bad Company talk for like 20 minutes, and you were laughing your ass off.
Yes, that is true.
My
ass went off. It was fun. I mean, because that is really funny, and I do miss that, and I do wish that they were going back with the more character. Just that comic relief was in there because it was so fresh and so enjoyable. But no comic relief here. Instead, you get this tiny little shotgun that looks like you pulled it out of your pocket.
But I mean, this is the standout sequence in this entire demo. This is what Battlefield should be. It's open, it's free, you can destroy your way through new environments.
So you're happy about this part?
This part I'm happy about.
Yay!
The rest of this demo, I got like anxiety over it becoming another OCD Battlefield 3 campaign.
Mad. You got frustrated. All right, let's go forward to that like rapid fire business, because
I don't know. Let's hear from you, Chris Waters. What do you think about the Battlefield 3 single player campaign?
I didn't really like it that much. It was pretty dull. It was pretty rote. A lot of the set piece moments were like direct ripoffs from Call of Duty games. It was pretty dull, but it had its moments. It had some excitement.
And how did you feel about this demo, 17-minute demo?
It didn't light my fire, I'll tell you that. Like I have been sort of being let's pause on some of these things.
Ship?
There's boats. It didn't light my fire. It did, I think I am actually more on the same page as you as I've made it sound during this little video. I think that it looks like more of the same, basically, and that same can be fun, and that same can be exciting.
Where'd my boat go?
What are you doing here?
All right,
to be fair, that sort of like working with your AI mechanic could make it more entertaining than the Battlefield 3 campaign.
Because you have a little bit more control. Not just you have more to do than just point and shoot at the enemies. Like you can do some kind of strategery to help it out. Now let's look here. We've got buildings in the background, so this is clearly right off the coast of something. This little,
you got a fast boat.
These guys are all like crouched down and like in dark clothing, so this makes it seem like we're doing like a infiltration kind of thing. Like this is a hostile.
I mean, we do seem to be out of the desert for the most part, which is a good step for this series. There seem to be a wide variety of environments, including forest, which I'm excited about.
You like some pretty trees.
Yeah. It's not just
because there were none in the last game.
There were pretty much no like functional forest in the last one.
I also want to give a shout out to the female soldier who, not sure what nationality she is, but in SOCOM 4, there was a Korean Special Forces soldier who was a woman, and she was a great character. And I think SOCOM 4 actually had some good character writing, and it was like totally natural to have a female soldier in there. And so I'm glad that the Battlefield is having her in there. She is only very briefly in this sizzle reel type situation, but in a lot of their promotional materials, they have put her face on there. So hopefully she'll be more than just like your contact behind enemy lines that you see like twice.
I'm a little concerned because I think her line was, "Will you protect me in this?"
Oh, did she say that?
It may have been, but yeah, like hopefully she will be a.
But she appears to be a soldier. I mean, if you play, can you play?
She's got a boonie on, and she's got the.
Yeah.
Go back.
No, I don't think. I think that's literally all that we see.
All right, Ryan Schubert, why don't you give us your quick rundown of how you feel about the 17 minutes of gameplay?
Well, I mean, it looks like more of the same with some hopefully useful improvements. I mean, like the mechanics maybe make it look bearable.
Those are your dreadlocks, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yep.
But I mean, I think I maybe played 6 to 8 hours of the campaign last time, and I did plus 300 hours in multiplayer. So, like I said, I'm not going to get that excited about this until I see some multiplayer footage.
Oh, missed it.
Worst pauser ever.
I'm working on my pausing skills. I was trying to look at the skyline there.
The buildings.
Yeah, I mean, I get a little worried when they
Ah!
I get a little worried when they pull so much resources towards single player, which is not. I mean, everybody knows you spend all your time multiplayer in this game. But, you know, we'll see. There were some. Okay, so the positive things in here were like there was the new grenade launcher. You have the dual sights from Medal of Honor, which is really cool. You have a spotting ability to work with your AI friends.
And if this campaign turns out to be entertaining enough, maybe the social stuff in the corner will actually be worthwhile.
I mean,
from the last game, if it's like the last campaign, I'm not even gonna care. Like, I don't know, like my friend is like 500 points ahead of me. It's like, well, he's gonna stay 500 points ahead of me because I'm not gonna complete the campaign.
But it is, you know, I do think there are people who appreciate that kind of opportunity to test their skills in a single player environment, because multiplayer, you know, as much as we all love it, it's not for everyone. Not everyone enjoys that kind of competitive play, and not everyone feels like they can, you know, be effective and whatnot.
And there is, to be fair, a pretty steep learning curve for Battlefield multiplayer. Like, a lot of people touch it and don't get into it.
Yeah. I think we're all super excited to hear what they have to say about multiplayer, and
cool.
And yeah, Battlefield 4 announced this week, or showcased this week at GDC for the first time. We'll no doubt be seeing more of this at the very least in June at E3, if not before.
Yeah, looking
Hopefully
forward to
some playable.
E3.
All right, so I think we are all talked out on our telecastration of Battlefield 4 gameplay.
That term is more fitting now that we've concluded.
Trademark. I'm Aaron Sampson.
I'm Chris Waters.
I'm Ryan Schubert.
And thanks for joining us.